Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 21 of Code Geass. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off, things have gotten pretty darn interesting. Lelouch has made it clear that he wants to establish an independent country by which he can gain legitimacy, which in and of itself isn't a bad idea, but I question about whether starting with Tokyo is truly a good idea. I don't know much about the geography, I don't know if it's defensible, but at least in theory his idea is sound. So it seems, based off the title, we're gonna have a school festival, which is nice, but I feel like, I don't know. I've got a bad feeling that if they don't play their cards right, this might be a bit of a silly episode rather than, what I would like it to be. Maybe like, the episode with the cat, but a bit more out of left field. And it's interesting that Lelouch and Suzaku are being, maybe not punished, but sort of called out for not showing up to school. And to be fair, they've got so much more important things going on than school, but, I guess the idea is that you do have to remember they essentially have like a civilian front to keep up here, or at least Lelouch does more than Suzaku. I guess it is nice that there are some consequences, because I was, maybe not concerned, but the lack of Shirley has been, something that's been weighing on me, just because it seems like the Geass might unravel based on the evidence she's found to the contrary, but I don't know, and that line of questioning is still something I'm interested in. And I guess this is another thing, too, like Ogi is, I guess watching the former Britannian officer, whose name currently escapes me, but like, she knows who Lelouch is, and the fact that she's an amnesiac is sort of keeping her safe for now, because, knowing what she does, if she were out and about, she would be a target for sure. But I guess with all this horrible business on the horizon, it only makes sense that we would now focus on a school festival to relax and unwind. Now, I guess the question is with C2, like, surely she's not going to be interested in the festival beyond eating Pizza Hut or something like that, right? Now, this is interesting because it seems like the school festival, it's sort of like a mix of what we know from anime and a mix of like other stuff from the invading Britannian culture. Which, I think that's definitely a nice way to do things, especially seeing as how most people at this school aren't 11s. I don't know. I probably wouldn't go as far as to say this is really like a good sterling example of the writers paying attention here, but I do like the attention to detail. Ooh. So unfortunately, Lelouch's lives are colliding here. You know, he has to take care of social stuff while also taking care of the Order of the Black Knights. You know, something tells me what Reinhard was about to tell him was probably significantly more important. Ooh. So that's something, that they invited a television crew to watch them bake the biggest pizza in the world. You know, that they would bake a pizza and not just order Pizza Hut is somewhat disheartening to me. It almost feels like a betrayal. But a television crew on school grounds. Like, something about that doesn't quite jive with me. I feel like there might be something else going on here. And I guess that Ogie is out and about too. Like, he might be getting a little bit too comfortable in public considering who he is and what he does. And also, he really does seem to be falling for this woman. Like, I can't say I blame her for wanting to take care of an innocent person. Because, you know, if she doesn't remember who she is and what she's done, she is effectively innocent. But now he's also dragging her to the school, so I get the feeling that, you know, this might be the spark, essentially. Like, she sees Lelouch and that sparks her memories. And then, you know, if she's tactful, she plays stupid like she's still an amnesiac. You know, it is nice that the students are so welcoming of 11s. But, ooh. Okay, Callan is still, wielding knives. So I guess this is interesting, you know, why would Suzaku, knowing her real identity, why would he not sell her down the river? And I guess the idea is he's just too good of a person, you know. He wants to win her over rather than fight her. Which, I guess that's laudable, but seeing as how he also told her that he murdered his father in cold blood, you know, I feel like that might not be a battle he can win. Especially because, maybe it's been outright stated, but there's certainly this implication that Callan had an older brother who was killed, and he was sort of in this whole space of, you know, Japanese liberation. It was certainly implied in, like, the ending animation at the end of every episode. Ooh. So Khaled's saying the only one who can order me around is Zero, but it really does seem as though she's being ordered around by other people. You know, I feel like just sort of openly talking about Glasgow models and all that, like, you know, maybe you should keep a lid on some specific, you know, bits of hardware you shouldn't know about. So it seems like there are all sorts of Britannian officers here, too. Yeah, you know, I was initially thinking that this might be like a low-key, chill, silly episode that doesn't really advance the plot, but seeing as how there are all these people gathering around, I feel like things are gonna cook off and it's not gonna be good. I mean, especially seeing as how this officer's essentially bonked Lelouch on the head, like, you know, interaction between these two is not a good thing. And I guess C2 interacting with anyone's not a good thing either, especially since I feel like she is somewhat known. Maybe most of the rank and file can't recognize her by face, but I feel like there are some higher-ups who know her or know of her. So interestingly, Schneizel is going to negotiate with the Chinese Federation. So I guess this indicates to me that the Britannian Empire is not willing to fight an outright war. You know, they'd like to avoid combat if at all possible, which is either sort of uncharacteristic leniency on their part, or, and I think it's more likely that it's an indication they're sort of overstretched. You know, in my cursory understanding of history, one of the things that really kills an empire is when they try and extend themselves too far. Because, you know, an empire, like, the source of authority is the emperor, and he's just one man. You know, it's sort of like a centralized system that doesn't work when you spread it out too far. So I'm wondering if maybe the Britannian Empire is a little bit closer to collapse than they would like to pretend it is. And, you know, speaking of closer to collapse, I feel like Lelouch shouldn't be just sort of out and out saying, hey, I'm planning a coup d'etat. You know, like, even if somebody does overhear it, like, you know, I feel like that's slightly more difficult to play off as a joke, especially considering the things that have been going on with Zero. So I guess, you know, if all the soldiers weren't enough, Euphemia wanted to show up too in disguise. Like, she might be disguised, but even so, I feel like this is, ill-advised. Ooh, ill-advised in no small part because she just bumped into Nunnally. You know. Oh dear. So everybody's just meeting up. This is a disaster. Because, Euphemia knows quite a bit more, and, oh my god, everyone's just congregating together in the most horrible way possible. Like, this is almost like a farce, where it's just people running in and out and having misunderstandings. Because, I mean, like, Ogi and Callan, if they all see C2, that blows Lelouch's cover. Oh, man. And, yeah, like, this is also the thing. He's used the Geass plenty of times before, so there's no easy way out. In fact, I think he's used it on everyone here. Except maybe Ogi. But he would be the only one. So, yeah, there's no good way out of this. I mean, I guess, fortunately, Callan is, maniacal enough to just cause an accident. Like, I mean, she didn't, like, crush anyone, but wow. Okay, so, like, oh boy, there's gas all of a sudden. It must be a gas leak. Tee-hee. Man. So I guess somehow the situation got diffused, but, you know, it was not a guarantee things would go as cleanly as they have done. But something tells me there's still going to be a bit of fallout from this. I mean, I guess when you get down to it, when there are so many people who've already been subject to the Geass, I feel like things are going to hit the fan at some point. You know, the secret's got to get out eventually. And poor Ogi, he might be getting involved with the enemy here, because sure, she's an amnesiac, and sure, she's saying, I wouldn't mind becoming an 11 for you, but suppose she does remember, you know, what then? And there's also this business with Euphemia and Nunnally. Like, Euphemia, like, she certainly understands that Lelouch is Zero, even if he did try and lie about it, but ah, man. Like, can she leave Nunnally in a situation like this? Like, almost certainly not, right? But Nunnally's also bringing up, like, you know, you and I used to argue about marrying Lelouch, you know, do you still feel the same way? I grew out of it. Like, that just introduces more trouble, really, because, like, what can Euphemia do, really, being a princess? She's not in charge of her own destiny, so to speak. And if she really does think Lelouch is zero, like, surely she can't get involved, right? At least not in a romantic capacity. Oh dear, indeed. You know, it really does seem like everything's just sort of cascading together. Even though things are sort of lulling right now, I feel like it's really just building up to explode again. Because, I mean, there's been, like, little payoffs for all sorts of things, but, the only thing we haven't really seen yet is Shirley. You know, I get the feeling she's gonna show up at the worst possible time. You know, perhaps while, Lelouch and Euphemia are talking. Because that she showed up in disguise is certainly an unwelcome surprise, but, like, what can Lelouch do? Like, can he really just turn her away? I feel like he would have to fabricate something to get her to go away. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't recall if he's used a Geass on her. I don't think he has. But would he be willing to use it to get her to go away? And I guess for that matter, not that I ever think he would, but can he even use the Geass on Nunnally? I mean, if she's blind and it requires eye contact, I feel like she is physiologically immune, even if Lelouch would never do that to his sister. But, you know, if he wants to make Euphemia go away, like, how would he explain that to Nunnally? I mean, I guess, fortunately, she's not here to confront him, but more to talk to him as family. Because that is what they are, essentially, cousins, or something to that effect. So I get the feeling Shirley might intervene now, to everyone's detriment. Yeah, there we go. You know, she thought he was just flirting with girls, but no, it turns out it's, the princess. And oh dear indeed, you know, she doesn't have a bodyguard or anything, like... Yeah, you know, this really was ill-advised. Oh my god, is that poor girl who's still carving a symbol into the wall? Oh dear. I guess the Geass really never does wear off if she's still doing that. Man. Oh, the pizza's ruined. It's all over. Oh man, what a tragedy. Ooh. Oh man, I don't know if that was intended to be funny, but that was perfect comedic timing. Just the sheer look of despair as the pizza dough landed on the tree. How excellent. But yeah, you know, it turns out crowds are actually quite dangerous. You know, you can get crushed in a crowd, even if you don't get trampled upon, and it's, you know, it ain't good. That's why it's always good to have a good bodyguard detail if you are famous and important. And, you know, it feels like Euphemia kind of, you know, screwed the pooch here, as it were. But, I suppose Suzaku's here, so, you know, she's alright in the end, but boy howdy, I would not want to be picked up like that by a giant robot. Ooh. Is Nunnally trying to invoke a love triangle here by saying, hey, Suzaku and Euphemia, they like each other. How do you feel? You know, I feel like Lelouch is honestly above such things, right? Like, surely he wouldn't want to get involved. If anything, he would want to twist it to his advantage insofar as he's willing to do so. Ooh. So for Euphemia to make a broadcast, an ad hoc live broadcast like this, what is she gonna say? It surely can't be a good thing, right? It's gonna throw a wrench into everything. Surely. Oh. Okay, so she's essentially... Oh. She's basically undercut Lelouch, it seems like. Essentially granting Japan some degree of independence. Ooh. So that's interesting, why is she doing this? Oh, okay, so it's different, I guess. Essentially, she's hoping that Britannians and 11s will live in harmony, but, I feel like this won't necessarily be the case. And essentially, she's sort of acting above her station to enact something like this. Man, so the people like her for that, of course, but I feel like this is only going to introduce trouble. I mean, already people are, making claims of miscegenation because she's got an 11 for a boyfriend, essentially. Oh dear. So yeah, somehow, maybe even by accident, she's managed to undercut the Order of the Black Knights. So I guess, if nothing else, she's motivated by wanting things to be like how they were, but... Man, she's put herself in the crosshairs now. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.